No!
Are you serious?
Wowzers!
Man, like,
That's my fault. Y'all don't deal with no cowards.
I don't know what they got going on.
You can't be defeated, let them know from the door. We won a lot of battles, but there's more in store. If you wanna be a soldier, know what you're fighting for.
Shalom. What's going on, family?
Shalom,
You can't be defeated, let them know from the door. We won a lot of battles, but there's more in store. If you wanna be a soldier, know what you're fighting for. We can battle axes, y'all's weapons of war. Before you go to battle, you should know what you up against. When y'all send this army on a mission, it ain't no defense. Have the latest weapons up, go and learn kung fu. Or you can read the art of war written by Sun Tzu. You don't need all of the above when we come through. When y'all sends the order out, where you gon' run to? Sword drawn out with your hand like a guillotine. Read what we did to the Canaanites and Philistines. Trembling in fear on their faces when they hit the scene. Giving the command, so we wiping out everything. When y'all puts our enemies under our hands, just like back in the land. Put them under the band. Man, woman, or child, can't none of them stand. To the last detail, executing the plan. Whether Joshua and Jericho, David and Goliath, it's already written in the end. We triumph. We can't be defeated. Let them know from the door. We won a lot of battles, but it's more in store. If you wanna be a soldier, know what you're fighting for. We the battle axes, y'all's weapons of war. We can't be defeated. Let them know from the door. We won a lot of battles, but it's more in store. If you wanna be a soldier, know what you're fighting for. We the battle axes, y'all's weapons of war. Don't get it twisted. I can't join your
Hey. What's going on, Hebrews?
Fully committed for my life on the line. We recruiting more brothers. Told I
thought I was gonna need some coffee. I don't need no coffee after that. After that song.
yeah, that song. This song is your charge.
We ain't fighting, so we fighting in the day into the night. When we see our enemies, then
How
it's
was y'all
all
week?
on sight. You can call on Jesus, he ain't coming to the rescue.
Everybody
He gon'
good
be
this
hiding,
week?
so when he gon' help you? All I done left you. Now you on your own and you get the same portion of reward for the wrong. This is more than a song. It's already written, Jeremiah 51. If you thinking that I'm kidding, knowing how to kill your enemy is key for survival. You should have a bow and arrow, slingshot, or a rifle. In Yah I trust, and this is the truth here. If you a coward, then you have no use here. Set apart spirit got me feeling like Samson when the army go marching out.
This is the anthem.
We can't be defeated. Let them know from the door. We won a lot of battles, but there's more in store. If you're gonna be a soldier, know what you're fighting for. We the battle axes, y'all's weapons of war. We can't be defeated. Let them know from the door.
Shabbat shalom.
Hey, how y'all doing, family? Mashmaka.
We the battle axes.
Shalom, shalom.
Hey,
Good to be with y'all again.
how was y'all week?
Hey. Man, that's still one of my favorite songs.
Oh man, that song go hard.
It take me back to when we used to do the Set Apart Youth Show.
Yeah, yeah, that song go hard.
A few moons ago.
Every time.
That scripture, y'all, that the Ak is talking about in that song is from Jeremiah 51. Man, check that out sometime. Because when you read that and it's pointing out the prophecy of what Yah is gonna do and who he's gonna use to do it. Oh my goodness. How could you not be excited about that?
Ain't no joke.
How could you not be
It
excited
ain't
about
no
that? Kane, that
joke.
was Dawid, Charlie, y'all.
Yup, don't we try to
Kane. That's still one of my favorite Hebrew artists to this day.
To this day.
To this day.
Yes,
What's
sir.
understood don't have to be said, huh?
Man, yes, sir. He go hard at that.
All right,
Woo.
family. Man, what a week. It's a lot going on in the world, ain't it? I know that's not what we're here to
Yes.
talk about, but You know what I was thinking about doing? Because this while people trickling in, Shabbat Shalom, everybody that's coming on in. Man, I don't know if I watch and listen to too much news, but I just be trying to keep up with what's going on, you know. And sometimes I have a perspective that I know is probably common to the nation of Israel, but uncommon to people who don't necessarily know how we believe or how we see things. So I be thinking about just doing quick lives on my Facebook just to be like commenting on some of the stuff that's going on, because sometimes I feel like as I'm listening to like the news talk shows and stuff like that, and I hear us call into the shows, we listening to current events, and I mean they got a lot of us hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, it
We
be so
falling right in
crazy.
sync.
Like I like to sit down when I do my news time, and I used to didn't do this because I was like I didn't really understand how different the news reporting could be,
Right.
and so I'm getting my news from one source, just kind of like whatever's up on
Yeah.
the.
You say you don't want to hear right wing extremists.
But at the same time, you're listening to the I guess the left wing. They've like completely divided. Was it always like that? The news is like completely divided. Yeah. So you either got right wing or you got left wing.
Yeah.
And it's like, both news outlet report on the same story, and it be like night and day.
Yeah.
And then you got the truth somewhere in between there, or just
with the omissions and everything.
Yeah.
I have to listen to both. Like I can't listen to right wing news too long. But I had to tune. I had to skim through the right wing, especially talk radio, because I got to know what they're thinking. You know what I mean? And then if you're only listening to, CNN and all of those, then it's like you really only getting
one side.
And they understand that statistically, most so-called black people only listen to certain news, so they feeding you certain things, and it's like, your sheep's being led to the slaughter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Y'all pray for discernment in this day and time, because I'm telling you,
Shabbat Shalom, Koti.
I feel sorry for the people who sitting in front of that box, allowing it to manipulate them, to manipulate their emotions and things, because I'm just telling you, it's the things that it's psychological warfare, and you sit in front of that box, and it's like they can get you to think and feel and believe anything they want you to get, to feel,
Okay.
And it's really psychological warfare. You really just have to pay for discernment and just,
And the other thing too, just since we're talking about it, I still say one of my favorite books I ever read. I picked up when I was about 18 years old, and I'm not gonna mention the name of the book on this format, but there was a chapter in that book. And I love this chapter. I still quote this to this day. The name of the chapter was Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. And I still say that's one of my favorite books. But what I understood, even when I read it then, is that the best way for people to win a war is to fight a battle without your opponent never even knowing that they're in a battle. Yep. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
So like when we discuss things like guarding your gates, or the entries to your temple, what you watch, what you listen to, what you eat, you know what I mean, things like that. You got to understand that the radio station programming,
I know,
is a silent weapon.
Yep.
The television station programming is a silent weapon. Netflix programming is a silent weapon. Amazon programming, when everybody wanted to run out and get the fire sticks and all of that, those are all silent weapons. For quiet wars. These things are being directed at a targeted market and audience intended to either distract or destroy. Very, very, very less likely to build up. Very, very, very few times are these programs or this programming being used to build up.
Let me tell you, I was watching the news the other day, and it was, what's going on in the world, coronavirus, just several people got shot over there. So and so got arrested for this over there. What went down in Washington, and I mean, it was just story after story, and then it was either Al Roker or one of them was like, and now let's change your mood and send you right back into depression. The little doggy asked his owner for a piece of his cake or something, and then they just threw all that trauma. They threw in a video of a little puppy trying to get a piece of cake from his owner. And so you're like, oh. And it took you right back into doo-doo, And I'm just like, oh my goodness, I feel so manipulated.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh my goodness. You got to unplug. You got to unplug. And in order to get shalom in this day and time, you got to know that everything that's happening is God's will. Okay. And everything is in his control. And so why even get worked up? Why even let what's happening manipulate you when you know that this is the Father plan? Everything that's happening has to happen. Everything that's
I like that you worded that like that, because that's actually, if y'all did do the reading, that's actually kind of like what we deal with. Because I started to say, if y'all haven't read the story of the Exodus in a while, go back and read that and see how that relates. Because I know we talking current events, and that's not really what we usually do. But if y'all interested, we could do that sometimes, maybe at a different night or live or something like that. Yeah, I was gonna say reread the Exodus and see how that relates. But even in this, it relates.
Abraham.
Yeah. It relates.
Yeah, you gotta have faith in Yah, and release the control. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, absolutely. Well, y'all ready to jump into it, fam?
Did y'all have homework?
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. A Koteen.
Hey, Shabbat shalom, Coach. Was there homework?
I don't remember you assigning homework, teacher.
I know. My mother
But you
was
might
a
have.
teacher. My mother was a teacher.
Yeah. You might have. Do you remember anything?
I can't remember.
Oh, that's the best kind of class when I was a child.
When the teacher don't remember they gave you
Don't remember what the assignment was.
I know that's right. Oh, well, teacher, that's easy. I remember. It was nothing.
Came.
All right.
Well, hey, let's jump right in, fam, because this was some good reading. It's all good reading, but this was, man, had me going back into Jasher again and all that good stuff.
Huh?
No homework? Are y'all sure?
You
remember homework? Well, I'm going to tell y'all something. Dog ate yours. I definitely am going to refer y'all to a read on the Project Wake Up Jacob site pertaining to some of what we're going over today, just because I want y'all to really kind of step outside of yourself a little bit as far as the literal aspect of what you're reading, and kind of see the bigger picture of what y'all trying to do with us and show us. But I'll show you. Hallelujah. You say you are my inspiration, Mrs. Hebrew Griot.
Oh, sister. Sister, do better than me, sister.
Okay.
Do better than me. You gonna do better. I guarantee you.
Okay, so let's jump on into Genesis 19.
Okay.
That just means you got to step your game up. You got to be like Shaul. Shaul said, "Be an imitator of me as I am imitator of Mashiach."
That's true. Well, I look at the tall ones and
Oh
the
yeah,
prophets.
they had some hefty walk.
The Messiah picked. He knew how to pick them, man.
Yeah.
I just don't know under that kind of pressure. I think about like some of the prophets and some of the things that they, and I don't know. I mean, I thank y'all for the sacrifice they made for us so that we can have the study material and just learn from the things they went through. But they,
but look, let me keep it completely 100% real with y'all. Every day that we walk out into the world from your house, and if you have children or even your spouse in your house, every day that you claim to be a vessel for the set apart spirit, your job and your duty is to represent Messiah. He was very clear. I know we ain't got nowhere near there yet, but he was very clear in saying, as I was sent into the world, so I send you. So, a little bit heavy, but if we claim to be the body of Messiah, the onus is upon each of us individually to go out and rep Messiah, which means whoever you dealing with, you have to, right? Be as much of an imitator of Messiah that someone could look at you and say, I want to follow that walk, because your walk is leading them to Messiah, which means that pertains to us, but it also pertains to you. It don't just pertain to us. So, I mean, just to keep that 100 with y'all.
Yeah. You got to be that light in the midst of darkness, because as you can see, we surrounded by darkness. We live in some dark days.
Okay.
And the world is getting... I remember when I was a kid, everybody read the scripture that says, there's going to come a time where the word is going to be so scarce that people are going to be searching for it. They're going to be searching for just any light because it's going to be so dark. And I can remember thinking like, just sitting there trying to imagine how a scenario like that could play out, And I was thinking, surely it can't happen in my time because I can't see the world changing so drastically just in my time or whatever. And now it's the light is fading quickly. Like even the people who claim to be messengers of the word, it's just crooked. It's crazy. It's like, the light is so rare. The light is so rare. And so you got to be that light. And when you find it, you got to hold on to it. Don't let it slip through your fingers because you're going to need it to see through the darkness.
Okay.
It's pretty thick. The darkness is thick.
I was trying to shoot to that scripture real quick, but anyway, there's a scripture in Revelations that said, "And the voice of the bride and the voice of the bridegroom won't be heard anymore after a certain point." That's prophecy, but that's related to what you were talking about. Yeah. For real. Okay.
All right.
Y'all ready? So let's check out what's going on in Genesis 19. So here we picking up where we left off, where Abraham was host to these 3 messengers. Two left to go and see exactly what was going on in the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. When I was a child, I always thought Sodom and Gomorrah was a place. Sodom and Gomorrah was cities. Right. Okay. Anyway.
Like neighboring cities.
Exactly. And each other and each one of them were kind of like twin capitals, so to speak, because each one of them had cities within them.
Right.
That's how it reads.
Okay.
There were cities of Sodom and cities of Gomorrah.
Oh, okay.
Cain. Cain. Yeah, it is. It's dark. So they were going to see just how dark it was in Sodom and Gomorrah.
I know.
Because Yah said, I need to see if it is. He already knew, but he afforded Abraham opportunity to intercede on behalf of his nephew, and he sent those messengers there to put eyes on and see. Really, what's happening is there was a test to see if the people were going to do exactly what they had been doing already.
Yeah, it's just like he's just like, you know how as a parent, you know you got to discipline your child, but you don't want to. And before you actually get to that disciplinary point, you tell yourself, okay, if they do this, then I'll give them another chance. If they just surprise me, maybe they'll wow me. Before I lay down the punishment. Even though you know
the law.
Right, you know what I'm saying? But even if they wow me, I'll turn back my hand. Every time you see Yah punishing a place or punishing a people, he is always hesitant. You know, it ain't never like
afforded ample opportunity.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. So that's what we pick up in literally verse 1 of 19. Lot is recognizing both of these two men as messengers. And real quick, I know we spoke about it briefly, and we were talking about the word messengers. Let me read to y'all what this is and show y'all what Lot recognized, but also give you some other contextual understanding of the word that's used for messengers. Because if you're reading in the KJV, you read angels, but it's not always angels. So you have to look at the context clues. Again, it's just like in school. Have to look at the context clues to see exactly what's being said. So in the Hebrew Strong's Concordance, H4397, the word is malak. That's singular. And if you're pluralizing words in Hebrew, oftentimes you'll hear an eem on the end. So malakim will be the plural version of that. So from an unused root meaning to dispatch as a deputy. To dispatch as a deputy. A messenger. So messenger is a literal translation. Specifically of Yah. Specifically a messenger of Yah. That is an angel. But then it goes on to say, could also be a prophet, a priest, or a teacher. An ambassador, an angel, or a king. Here's something interesting. When you get to the book of Kings, in the scriptures translation of the Bible, the book of Kings in the scriptures translation, 1st and 2nd Kings, it reads Melachim Aleph and Melachim Bet. So 1st and 2nd Melachim, as in messengers. Even though in your English translation it says kings. Just interesting side note. So, what's going on in 2?
Okay. And he said,
let's read 2 through 4, if you don't mind.
Okay. Look, please, my master, please turn into your servant's house and spend the night, and wash your feet, and rise early and go your way. And they said, no, but let us sleep out here in the open square. But he urged them strongly, and they turned into him and came into his house. And he made them a feast and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. Was it the feast of unleavened bread? No.
I don't know if it was the feast of unleavened bread, because we don't read that. But he did say he made them unleavened bread.
Okay.
And he recognized them, and he went and bowed down to their feet, and he went to grab them because they came in town, and they were on a mission. They needed to see if the customs that were being practiced were as was reported. And so they were going to sleep in the open square, knowing that they would make themselves available to whatever wickedness was going on.
Yeah.
And Lot said, no, please.
No. Yeah.
Because he understood who they were, and he understood that what the people were doing was so wicked.
So was Lot trying to save or spare the Malachim, or was he trying to spare the people?
That's a good question. But what I understand also is that Lot was still reared in Abraham's house.
Right.
Lot was still reared up under Abraham, so Lot understood wickedness, and he still kept the practices that Abraham taught him for the most part.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he may not have deviated some,
Right.
but there was a reason that Yah showed Lot some favor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Lot, like, the Malachim, they know they power. You know what I'm saying? They ain't scared of these humans.
Mm-hmm.
So Lot, I don't think Lot was begging them to come in because he feared something was gonna happen to the Malachim.
Exactly.
Lot feared that they was gonna piss the Malachim off, and the Malachim was gonna kill everybody. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah. A lot of times we don't really look at the angels or the Malachim as soldiers or warriors, especially if we look at the art that's been portrayed, through Greek culture and Roman culture. And you got the cherubs and little babies, the little fat babies with the wings.
What a mess.
What's
I
the
know.
Cupid and all that. And Cupid's a little devious demon anyway.
Yeah.
But speaking of that hell of day is coming up.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, most of these Malachim, especially if they were being sent on a mission like this, were like leaders of hosts, captains of guards, leaders of legions. You know what I mean? So these are not just warriors, but these are head warriors.
These exterminators
that are being sent. Sent literally into a combat zone.
Leaders of exterminators.
Yeah, and they're being sent into a combat zone to see. So this is a reconnaissance mission.
Yeah.
You understand, if you're going on this reconnaissance mission, that you may have to fend for yourself to get back.
Yeah, because I mean, let's think about the rankings of these two Malachim.
Mm-hmm.
They showed up at Abraham's place with the Most High, with the Spirit of the Most High. You know what I'm saying? With the angel of Yah. The angel of Yah. So these some high ranking Malachims. These ain't no scrubs.
Exactly.
And so they tell Lot, like, nah, we gonna chill out here. So Lot like, oh my goodness. Now Lot thinking about, my kids, these fools, you know what I'm saying? They stupid, they don't know what they doing.
Right.
I gotta save them. I gotta save the world, in his opinion.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I gotta save the world. Because how big would that town have been? Like, if
like I say, they were neighboring cities that had, they were neighboring places that had cities within them. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about a pretty big area. Yeah. And even as it reads, you get to where they're leaving out, and Lot is told to go up to the mountains, and Lot say, I can't make it that far that fast.
Yeah, he sure did.
Let me go to this neighboring city. Yeah,
because see, a lot of time we think stuff is just, when we read stuff in the Bible, we think stuff is just like, what I'm saying? So he's like, how am I going to make it all the way over there?
Yeah. Think of, when you read about Sodom and Gomorrah, think of metropolitan cities within the United States.
Yeah.
Think of big places, just like
Vegas.
Yeah, New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, Dallas, or Texas, whatever. This was a big place, and it was industrious, so to speak, for all intents and purpose. There was an economy within it.
Yeah. Did we read to y'all the description of Sodom and Gomorrah from Abraham's servant?
We haven't got there yet.
Are we going there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
So you left off at 4.
Oh, huh? Got too much dip on a chip? Okay. Okay. So you said read 4 through 5?
No.
Just read 4?
4 for now.
Okay.
That's where you left off at 4.
So they ate before they
they
lay
lay
down. Oh, before they laid down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, both old and young, all the people from every part surrounded the house.
Yeah. So he finally got them to come in the house, fix supper, and before they could even eat and get laid down, their door was getting busted down because everybody in the area wanted to know about these messengers. Malachim.
Now, okay, we always understood it as, the men of Sodom and Gomorrah was super into other men. And so any new men came around, they wanted to sample the man goods, right? That's the way it was always presented to us. But it's like I heard another ox say a while back, could it be that they knew and understood that these was Malachim? And the people was into that. They was into sleeping with angels in hopes to get favors and trinkets and, blessings.
Yeah.
Things like that.
So you got to go back to, we talked about Genesis 6. There was such thing as a temple prostitute. There were these temples dedicated to these fallen angels, where men and women both would go in and prostrate themselves before the high priest. But the hopes was to
Lord.
have a visitation from one of the fallen and to mate. And get to know them.
Yeah,
in the biblical sense.
According to Greek mythology, your boy Zeus kept it live. His temple was a rotating door, in and out, man.
Well, that's what all those temples were about. So look at that's what all the pagan temples deal with. So Cain, all of the pagan temples are temples to gods that are not Yah. And whether it is a physical intimacy or not, the whole point that's pissing Yah off with us is that you are being intimate with someone other than me. You understand what I'm saying? So we'll get more into that. But
So they figured they had hit the lottery because they ain't have to go to the temple to get them. Though the angel showed up inside them. It's their lucky day.
Cain. Read 5.
Okay. And they called to Lot and said to him, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us and let us know them."
Okay. So that's one of those words again. Several meanings, even the word that's used there in the Hebrew, several meanings, but contextually, you have to dig in to see what it's saying contextually. In this context, they wanted to get to know him in the biblical sense. And they wanted to get to know them. How do we know that? Well, let's pick up verses 6 through 11.
So Lot went out to them through the doorway and shut the door behind him. You know what I'm saying? And he said, "Please, my brothers, do not do this evil thing. Look, please, I have 2 daughters who have not known a man."
Stop. So if we weren't sure that was the knowing that we was talking about, he clarifies by saying, "I have 2 daughters who have not been with a man. They have not known a man." Okay, go ahead.
"Please, let me bring them out to you and do to them as you wish."
Now, this is how serious a crime is getting ready to be committed.
Yeah.
This is just how serious it is. Lot was getting ready to sacrifice his daughters because what they were trying to do to those 2 Malachim was so bad that giving his daughters to that mob would have been less heinous in his opinion than what they were getting ready to do to angels of Yah.
Yeah. And
Does that make sense?
that does. And he
The gravity of the situation.
he knows that they not even gonna get close to doing that to them angels, but he also knows that when Yah's wrath come on that place, the reason I say this, I had a young lady, I don't know if she's listening in, but she was like keeping me posted as she went through reading her chapters. You know, I told her, just let me know if you have any questions or whatever. And she had got to a certain point, and she was like, "Oh my goodness, these people
Right.
in this Bible
Right.
is just
I remember
horrible." And so one of the things she couldn't understand, I don't know if it was this story or the other story where the man gives them his wife to hold off the mob or whatever. But one thing she couldn't understand was like, why would Lot offer up his daughters to a mob of men? That's like horrible. That's kind of selfish, ain't it? And if you really think about it, it's the exact opposite. In order to save even those fools, because they know not what they finna do. They finna trigger a nuclear bomb, okay? Lot knows this. So in order to prevent or to try to prevent a nuclear bomb for exterminating all of them, he sacrificed or was willing to sacrifice his 2 daughters.
But they didn't want to.
No.
And I believe Lot knew that.
Yeah.
And I believe that what this was a lineup or a litany of witnesses against Sodom and Gomorrah, which is what the Most High say He was sending those angels to do in the first place, to gather witness to see if it is what it was. And so now here we are again, more witnesses, and they piling up at this point.
Yeah.
So where we at?
Okay. So now, but they said, "Stand back, Lot." And they said, this one, talking about Lot, came in as a stranger. And why he always trying to judge us? You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Now, we're going to treat you worse than what we're going to do to you, worse what we're going to do to them. So they pressed hard against the man Lot and came near to break down the door. But the men reached out their hands and pulled Lot into the house with them and shut the door. Then they struck the men who were on the doorway of the house with blindness, both small and great, and they wearied themselves to find the door. So they were struck with blindness, and they were still trying to get at the Malachim.
Okay. So Lot trying to save them, and they wound up saving Lot.
They wound up saving Lot.
They wound up saving Lot and his whole house.
Well, Lot trying to save the people. He ain't worried about that.
But that's how it reads. He trying to keep the people from them, and they wind up having to snatch Lot in and blind the people. So that they walking around confounded, bewildered,
grabbing each other's booties,
groping at each other. Yeah. Let me read 13 to you. Because now they telling them, okay, this is a done deal.
Yeah.
This place is over with.
Yeah.
I say that about this place.
Right.
Often. Yeah. This place is done.
It's a wrap.
So that's what they tell him. And they tell him in 13, they say, we're going to destroy this place because the cry against them has grown great before the face of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah has sent us to destroy it. That you got to pay attention to that, because you're going to see situations happen like that several more times. And what we begin to find out is that, and I think Rib has mentioned this before, there is a can y'all hear my children?
I know. Oh my goodness.
Can you let them know that
they like
Appreciate that.
acting out a full-length movie in the back of the...
I realized though during the COVID situation that's now the norm. So
I know.
it's no longer taboo to be live or in a meeting or something like that, and
And
your
a child
children,
head pop in.
yeah, swinging from the rafters in the background. What was I saying? Oh, so yeah, there's a buildup, as Real was saying, and once things reach to a certain point, we read about it in Babel.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are, Sodom and Gomorrah, and again, Babel was a major city.
Metropolis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sodom and Gomorrah. Y'all allowed it to get big for a reason.
Yeah.
He allowed it to get big, and then he was able to do something that really instilled his name to the point where I don't know if y'all know, but they know where Sodom and Gomorrah is. They found that place.
They did find that place. Yeah.
So when they told them they was getting ready to destroy this place, and they rained down that fire and sulfur, fire and brimstone. First of all, I don't know if y'all know, but what came down burned so hot that the ashes from it, even today, if they try to light it, it burns like a purple. Now we know fire, if you remember science, you got a couple of different colors of fire that dictate
how hot.
the heat. How hot it is. You got orange fire, yellow fire, blue fire. I was always taught that blue fire is the hottest color flame.
Right.
The blue flame. You don't want to touch that blue flame. Was
You
that
gonna make-
butane, propane?
That's
it.
That's a wrap.
Well, these ashes, even when they tested them in the laboratory, burned purple.
Purple.
So this was so hot that when this sulfur, fire, brimstone, whatever rained down from the heavens, everything that it touched was incinerated to the point where, like, let's say it hit us sitting in these seats, the ashes was still in the shape of us sitting in these seats.
Wow.
All these years later.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. So there's a video on YouTube if y'all want to try to see that what we was talking about. There's a documentary where some people, all those lands over there, if you want to go and explore, you got to get like certain permissions or whatever may have you.
Permits and all that, yeah.
So people sneak over there though, and
Depending on where you're going, you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, if you know,
Yeah.
if you about that life.
So right, so in this documentary, they went over there and they found, you know, they driving looking for Sodom and Gomorrah. These people, Ron Wyatt is one. I don't know if anybody's heard of Ron Wyatt.
Ron Wyatt. I'm gonna type that in for you.
But they went over there searching for Sodom and Gomorrah, and they was driving and they was like, they got to a certain point and they looked and they said, "Don't that like look like, house structures?" I mean, it's mountains now. Like the sediment has grown up, but the way in which the mountains, they're like, every certain amount of feet, and they was like, "Don't that kind of look like, And so they went over there and did some exploring. I think they was sneaking or whatever may have you, but they were like, they archaeologists. So they're, doing their thing, with their little tools and everything. And so once they got past like a certain level of sediment and stuff, they start seeing like little craters. And in the middle of the craters was like these little sulfur balls,
Still.
And, and he was like, "Can you smell that?" And he picked one up and damn near sent his fool self to the hospital because he sniffed it so close to his nose that it was too potent. Anyway, so they smuggled some of the balls out of the area
Back to the laboratory.
And as they was testing the balls, they were saying they all had, when they lit that thing, it cleared the lab.
Right.
The fume from it was so strong that it potent. It cleared the lab, but when they lit it, it burned purple. So now he went on to steal a ball, one of the little sulfur balls from the lab, because he wanted to bring one back home to show his wife. And he was saying how he brought it in the house and he, lit one of the balls to show his wife. He told them, it's real potent. He's like, these are ashes, little ash balls that's to this day still potent enough where you can light it and it burned. And he was showing her the purple flame because they had never seen a purple flame.
Yeah.
And he said when it lit it, it cleared the house. They had to clear the house. And like his daughter was outside in the grass, like wheezing, trying to catch her breath.
But you gotta, with that in mind, you gotta imagine what was it like when it happened.
Fresh.
Yeah.
Over, thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
That's big, So that's what Lot was trying to save them from.
Okay. Let's jump down to so the angels tell him to get out of there. 17. Yeah. So they tell him what's going to happen. They say this city is done. You don't want to be caught up in the punishment of the city. Come out of her.
Come out of her, my people.
Come out of her.
Yeah.
At least you get caught up in what's going to happen. So let's read 17.
Okay. And it came to be, when they had brought them outside, that he said, escape for your life. Do not look behind you, nor stay anywhere in the plain. Escape to the mountains, lest you be consumed.
So he tells them escape to the mountains. And this is what I was talking about. I said, oh no, Yah. Look, please, your servant has found favor in your eyes, and you have increased your love and commitment, which you have shown me by saving my life. But I am unable to escape to the mountains. I'm an old man now.
Man, I can't get up there that fast.
Lest calamity overtake me and I die. Look, please,
Calamity.
this city is near enough to flee to, and it is small. Please let me escape there, and it is not a small matter, and let my life be saved. So Yah allowed it. Yah showed him favor and said, look, go to that city. That's what you need to do. So.
But another thing,
Yeah.
You can imagine how hard it must be for them, because the angels had told Lot to warn his son-in-laws and his other daughters. You know what I'm saying? Lot had a lot of kids, and they all was integrated in Sodom. They all lived in either Sodom or Gomorrah,
Mm-hmm.
And so Lot, the angels gave him that night to do what he had to do to warn as much as his family as he could.
Mm-hmm.
And Lot ran around that city all night trying to warn his family, and they laughed at him. They like, man, what you talking about? He like, it's fire finna fall, And they
Fire
like,
will fall.
huh? Literally, you know what I'm saying? And they laughed at him. They like, girl, your daddy in there drinking. You gotta look. You can leave that bottle alone. You need to put down the bottle. You know what I'm saying? And he tried to. And so he had to leave all his children except 2. So the rest of his children, his grandchildren, you know what I'm saying? Everybody is back there in their town. And he had to leave them. Like the angels forced him, literally. They grabbed his hand and pulled him out of there.
Yeah, they came up out there and got him, I want to say the next morning. And the sun had risen up upon the earth when Lot entered Zoar. That's the name of the city that he ran to in 23. And Yah rained sulfur and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah. And Yah from Yahuwah out of the heavens. So he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities and what grew on the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar or a post of salt. His wife looked back, and she became a pillar of salt. So my question to y'all, and this is something that you gotta really contemplate and understand. Why did she look back? Why did she look back, right? And at the heart of that question, what I'm really asking you is, what was on her heart? You know what I'm saying? Because as Rib said, they had family there. What we read is that Lot, his wife, his two daughters are who came up out of there. He did have son-in-laws, like you said. His son-in-laws, when they left that morning, his son-in-laws were not included. Now that's not even speaking of cousins or whoever else, but just that immediate household. Now it does read that his daughters had not known a husband, but it also says that they had so they were probably betrothed.
No, it says that he had daughters married to those son-in-laws that chose to stay with their husbands.
Oh yeah, so you talking about
Yeah.
other daughters? Yeah,
with their
Cain.
kids, their
Cain.
kids,
Cain.
everything.
Cain. So his
That's
wife couldn't hack it.
That's tough. That's tough. I try to put myself in a situation.
Let me read some of y'all. Look at Matthew chapter 10 with us real quick. Yeah, her children, Cain.
Like, did she look back because she got there at the gate and heard one of her grandbabies calling her name?
Cain.
You know what? What caused her to look back?
Akoti Sylvia said her children, like you. Akoti Angelique said, sound like the sofa, the slumber that brews her in the day. And I can agree with that, but like Riv said, I do want to say that it is hard. I agree with you that there is a slumber to some degree. But even for those that say they know who they are, that's a tough choice to make.
That's a tough choice to make, man. But you got to remember, nothing is put in the scriptures. Y'all, the stuff that y'all allowed to be presented to you today in this book is here for a reason. Mm-hmm. And so you got to ask yourself, why did y'all tell us that?
Why did he give us that story as an example?
Yeah. Why not just say, the wife didn't make it either? Why was it important for us to know it's because she looked back?
Verse 34. Matthew chapter 10.
Matthew
chapter 10.
10.
Beginning at verse 34. I'm just going to read 34, 35, 36, and 37. As it relates to what we were just reading. Mm-hmm. Because we're talking about the Spirit of Yah and what Yah sent his Melachim to do and what he told Lot to do and his household in order to save them from the coming destruction. Right? Mm-hmm. So it says, and this is the Messiah speaking himself. If you read in KJV, the red letter Bible, this is red letters. Mm-hmm. And he says, do not think that I have come to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. Wait a minute. Never heard that when I was in Christianity. I thought he came to be peace on earth.
I know. I never said that.
Okay, so the Messiah himself says, do not think that I have come to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. In other words, division. For I have come to bring division, a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and a man's enemies are those of his own household. Didn't we just read that? There's division straight through that family based on who was going to listen to what Yah's word sent by those messengers. Literally, messengers told them they needed to do, and those was like, phooey.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? He who loves even your father or your mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he who loves son or daughter more than me, is that what she did? That's what y'all suggested, is that she was looking back because she had children, right?
Yeah.
He said, he who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. That is them some tough words to swallow. But that's really where this walk has to be. In other words, so this is going to sound harsh, right?
Yeah.
But I got a brother that I used to fellowship with. He had a saying that I pretty much stole, adapted, even among my household, because I can lead my household as best as I can. And I'm not even trying to pretend like I'm always right, but I'm just saying, as far as trying to be an example, or even with people that I deal with in the world. But on the day of judgment, we all stand before him as individuals. I can't stand on the day of judgment on behalf of my son. I can't stand on the day of judgment on behalf of my friend. You understand what I'm saying? So what my aunt used to say, and I agree with him 100%, is I ain't holding no nigga's hand to the lake of fire.
He did say that.
Nobody.
He stood on that too.
And it could be my friend, my son, my wife. If y'all saying go this way, and you just dead set on going the opposite direction, guess which way I'm going? I don't care who you are. It could be my mama.
Deuces.
You understand what I'm saying?
Deuces, yeah.
And that's really how this walk has to be. If you consider yourself to be serious about this walk, that's really how it has to be.
And then you know me, I'm gonna break it down to the main compound, so that you could. And I thank this young lady because she helped me to be able to see this is needed. It come down to this: anybody who do not choose to serve the Father in truth,
Spirit and truth,
can be used by the adversary to destroy you. And so you do have to get to a point where you have to make a decision. Am I going to stick with the Father? Am I going to love Messiah first? Am I going to love him first, and everything else comes next, comes later? Because I chose to serve the Father in spirit and in truth. My child may not choose to serve. My child may feel like I'm something of a fool for giving my life.
Yeah.
To y'all.
You got a lot of people out there that only pay lip service to y'all.
Yeah.
Look, even before we knew it was y'all, and when we thought it was just Christianity and everything that Christianity stood for. If you're not still able to distinguish between Christianity and what we're talking about, stick with us. You'll get there.
You get it. You get it.
So anyway, even when I was in Christianity, even there was people only paying lip service to what Christianity supposedly stood for. And it's like, yeah, you say one thing and do one thing on church, but what's that song? Shake it out, church folk?
Yeah. So church folk, the hardest jukers in the club Saturday night.
Saturday night.
They got the same dress on. Saturday night, they juking.
Come hungover Sunday morning.
Smell like old weed and cigarettes.
And the fact of the matter is, we dealing with spirit and truth. Hell, if you was in the club Saturday, you might as well have just stayed there. Sunday and stayed at home and slept it off. Get you a mimosa or something. A little hair of the dog. I don't know.
So you ask yourself the question. Do I allow this person, because this person has chosen a different master from my master. Now this person master, now they loyal to their master because they master, the devil get on somebody and the devil can get somebody to, you know what I'm saying? You be like, I don't know what the hell came over that girl. She just completely went crazy. You know what I'm saying? So they can still be used by their master. Now my master then told me, time to go.
That's right.
Everybody that go with you is saved. Everybody else is screwed. Decide today what you're doing. I'm like, I'm going. But now my children, he gave, like, let me tell you how merciful y'all is. Y'all say, go ahead, warn your children. So they went and they tried to warn their children. They master on them got like, your daddy drunk again. Oh, dad, you drunk again. You know what I'm saying? And so now it's go time. And I'm going where my master told me to go. But my children who chose not to serve my master, who chose their master over my master, and their master screwed them, now they're Mommy, wait.
Let me drill down on that just a little bit further. I agree with you 100%. You're 100% accurate on how you're breaking that down. Even further though, what is it about those individuals that Lot was trying to save that prevented them from hearing the message in the first place? Themselves. So like if we were just talking about right now, us and whoever we may be talking to, what is it preventing the person that you're trying to say, hey, I think I found the Most High Yah. I think he's calling my name. Let me tell you. Now you're full of zeal.
Yep.
And you want to go out and help deliver people to the truth.
Right.
What is it that's preventing them from hearing his word like you hearing his word? Let me show you what it is. Let me show you what it is. Because you got to put yourself in the same position that Lot's wife was in.
Yeah, you do.
Okay? And what happens is we are trained and programmed to roll with this notion that this notion of good and bad and this idea of love that is really false. Love is truth. Good is righteousness. If it's not righteousness, it is not in actuality good. So when you are at the funeral of, I'm not gonna say you, the last couple of funerals I was at for some of my family members, it's been years, but you know, fam, we got those that we know was really good people, and then we know some of us sometimes have black sheeps in the family. Now you got a pastor that never knew this individual standing and preaching a eulogy, talking about how good this individual was, and you in your mind is like, I remember, you know what I'm saying, such man left me dirty, such, or stole money from me, or blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah.
But you steady calling this person good because in their absence, you miss them, you love them, that's understandable.
It's
and you don't want to speak ill of the dead. It's comfortable. But if we're talking about spirit and truth and righteousness, and what defines righteousness is adherence or obedience to Torah, were they good by Yah's definition? And what did he think of them? Was he communicating with them?
I tell you how raw that is. There's a scripture in which the Messiah come upon one of his taught ones, burying his father. His father had just died. He mourning the loss of his father.
Okay.
And Messiah tell him, hey, let's roll. You coming with me? And he like, okay, but can I finish burying my father?
Yeah.
And the Messiah tell him, let the dead bury the dead. We got to roll.
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It's on some next level stuff, family. But it's good that when you reading these stories that you put yourself in those situations, because that's kind of like training. You know what I'm saying? It's training you to be able to, because I promise you, if you stick with Yah, you're going to have to make them tough decisions one day. You're going to, look, the world is going to crumble around you. Scripture tell us if we stick with Yah, we'll be saved from it.
As if you believe in the book.
That's if you believe in the book.
Yeah.
I guarantee you're going to see loved ones, people who, man, in your heart, you're going to see them fall around you. The question is,
It's agonizing.
yeah, do you fall? Do you stop when Yah has told you to keep going? Or do you tell yourself, I gotta keep going, but when later on I'm gonna grieve about this, but for now it's crunch time.
Yeah.
For now it's go time. These are training. It's put here.
It's the reason it's repeated too.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I say, we read about a city lifted up and then destroyed.
Yep.
With Babylon.
Yep.
We're reading about cities being lifted up and destroyed again.
You're
here.
gonna keep seeing it.
You're gonna read about it again with Exodus. It's a repetitious thing. Number one is because we are a hard-headed and stiff-necked people.
We are.
And it take
Yeah.
a few times for us to get a message
Yeah.
from him.
Yeah.
But it's also so that you can understand a pattern of things, and you can begin to recognize a pattern even as it's unfolding, which brings us to present day.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And I'll tell you this: it has been our shared experience that most often when we are answering questions that someone may have to us individually about what we believe and why we believe it, or just telling someone the good news, when they are not able to receive it, but they genuinely had questions, like parable of the sower. Usually, the number one objection that we hear, and it's the same moment you see something switch in the individual, and they're like, "Nah, I can't roll with that,"
Yeah.
is because they think about someone in their life, a loved one, that they either know will not accept this or has passed, and they don't know if they did accept it. So, common things you hear is like, "My grandmama was a Christian all her life, and you can't tell me she going to hell."
Right.
You know what I mean? To which something like that, I would respond, "No, I'm not telling you that because I don't know your
I
grandmother."
don't know.
And what I read says that everyone will have an opportunity to hear the truth. So I don't know what your grandmother, grandfather, mother, father, whoever had an opportunity to hear and whether or not they accepted it. And I would also submit to you that you shouldn't burden yourself with it at this point if they're already dead, but work out your deliverance.
Yep. That's vanity.
That's the most important thing.
That's real vain.
Yeah.
It's real vain to assume you knew what happened after, you know what I'm saying? For example, my mother passed away when I was 12 years old. And 3 months before my mother died, she stopped talking. She went into like this vegetative state. And I used to see her like lay in her bed and just stare out the window. You know, I don't know what was going on in my mother's head. I don't know if there was an angel ministering to her. I don't know if the dead gets one more chance even before they cross over to, you know what I'm saying? I don't know that. In my vanity, I know I can say, well, my mama didn't take this truth, so I ain't gonna take this truth. You know, that's foolish. That's foolish. And you're setting, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Unnecessary.
You just don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But let me show you what they were doing in the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. That Lot's wife cared so much about that she was trying to go back. Let me show you just how wicked they were.
Yeah.
And again, I want y'all to compare what we finna read to what's going on present day.
Yep.
And find the parallels. I'm gonna just give you a couple examples. We go into the book of Jasher. I pray y'all got the link from the last few times. You want to drop it again just in case? Get the book of Jasher, y'all. Order it on Amazon. Order you a copy. I have a copy, but it's been through so many different hands that it's a little tattered, so I just read it offline. But I'm ordering another copy also.
The book of Josh is one, boy, they got as soon as they got a hold of the Bible, they got that up on out of there. They got that up out of the way.
Yeah.
Man, I want you to know about that.
So chapter 19 in the book of Jasher as well. We're going to start at verse 3. And I'm just going to read you 2 examples. The first one is 3 through 7. Unless you want to add another one, that's fine. Let me know when y'all there. Okay. Excuse me. Ain't good tonight.
I know.
Jasher chapter 19, verse 3. And by the desire of the four judges, the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah had 4 judges among those cities. The people of Sodom and Gomorrah had beds erected in the streets of the cities. And if a man came to these places, they laid hold of him and brought him to one of their beds and by force made him lie in them. Now we're wondering why those messengers came and said, we're going to stay in the square. I want to see what...
Yeah, I want to see what they do.
You bad, huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, come get me.
Yeah, I'm going to lay. So that's what they were doing. This was a practice of the people. And as he lay down, 3 men would stand at his head and 3 at his feet and measure him by the length of the bed. And if the bed was less than the bed of these 6 men, and if the man was less than the bed, these 6 men would stretch him at each end, and when he cried out to them, they would not answer him. This bed was gargantuan for some reason. Now, we talk about Genesis 6. What was they looking for? You weren't what they were looking for.
You weren't what they were looking for.
You weren't what they were looking for.
Right.
Okay? And if he was longer than the bed, they would draw together the 2 sides of the bed at each end until the man had reached the gates of death. What? And if he continued to cry out, then they would answer him saying, thus shall it be done to a man that comes into our land. This is some of the stuff they were doing. Let me read you another example. This may be the one that Rip was mentioning. So y'all remember Eleazar, right? Eleazar was living with Abraham and Sarah.
Yeah, Abraham's servant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's go to verse 11.
I love this story.
This is one of my favorite ones
This is real
too.
cool. It just really show you like what kind of people we was dealing with.
It show you what kind of people Abraham was bringing up too.
Yeah.
Like
man.
who was coming up in the house of Abraham and what was their character like? Being someone reared by the high priest according to the order of Melchizedek at the time.
Yeah.
Who was a prophet according to what we read. Who was a servant of Yah and a priest of Yah. What product was he turning out of his house?
Yeah.
So this is Eleazar. So, and in the course of time, Sarah sent Eleazar to Sodom to see Lot and inquire after his welfare. So now they sent Eleazar. Again, we talking about somebody got to be strong enough to go on a mission to go check on the welfare of Lot.
Yeah.
Just to get an image in your mind of what type of individual we talking about. And Eleazar went to Sodom, and he met a man of Sodom fighting with a stranger. And the man of Sodom stripped the poor man of all his clothes and went away. And this poor man cried to Eleazar and supplicated his favor on account of what the man of Sodom had done to him. And he said to him, why do you act thus to the poor man who came to thy land? And the man of Sodom answered Eleazar, saying, is this man thy brother? Or have the people of Sodom made thee a judge this day that thou speak about this man? And remember, they had a problem with Lot judging too. They didn't want nobody to judge. They wanted to be able to do their own thing. Do what thou wilt.
But the reason why they ain't like kicking Lot or Eleazar out because Abraham has saved they butt in the previous chapters.
Exactly.
So, but don't mean they like him.
No, they can't. They think he sitting up on his high horse, so to speak.
He think he better than us.
Okay. So they say, what is he, your brother? Some kin of you?
Right. You know him?
Yeah. Who you with? Where you from?
Right.
So Eleazar strove with the man of Sodom on account of the poor man. That means they got into a physical altercation. Strove with the man on account of the poor man. And when Eleazar approached to recover the poor man's clothes, the man from Sodom, he hastened and with a stone smote Eleazar in the forehead, hit him in the head with a stone. And blood flowed copiously from Eleazar's forehead.
Spewed out of his forehead.
And when the man saw the blood, he called hold of Eleazar, saying, give me my hire for having rid thee of this bad blood that was in your forehead, for such is the custom and the law in our land. Hold on, y'all. Hold on.
Yes.
They get into a fight
Right.
because Eleazar trying to stand up for the poor.
Yeah.
The man pick up a stone to
Yeah.
get the best of Eleazar, hits him upside the head, and when Eleazar kind of stumble away, grabs her. Wait a minute, you owe me money. What? For what? Nigga. I'm bleeding.
You can't say the N word on YouTube.
Listen, if this was in today's time and that happened, that would be the first thing out of my mind. Seriously? I'm bleeding. You hit me. Well, it was bad blood. And I rid you of that bad blood, and now you must pay me for ridding you of that bad blood, is what he was telling them.
Yeah.
What the hell kind of sense that made?
That happened. That happened here. Do you remember the cop who snatched the older black guy out of his car? They beat him. They beat him out of his car. They beat him on the ground. They beat him into the police car. They beat this man older. He was an older guy. They beat this man half to death. When this man woke up from the coma they put him in, they told him they was pressing charges because he bled on their uniform and it was destructive. You remember that?
That happened. That
True
was not
story.
even. That was not
True
even.
story.
That was not even a whole 12 months ago.
If you ever
That was
wondered
not even a whole 12
how
months
close
ago.
this place is to Sodom,
That sure did. I remember
that's
that.
a true story. I kid you not. Look for the news article.
Sure did.
A black man, they beat him so bad. The camera caught them. And when he woke up from being beat, they told him they was locking him up because he bled on their uniform. Sure did.
And I'm sure we all have stories, and we all know of news accounts or even personal stories where this is a common thing in this place that we're living in now. This is look at we just had the incident where everybody everybody could look at what happened at the Capitol and say that didn't go like any of the Black Lives
Previous,
Matter protests at all.
Yeah,
like nobody,
not even close.
one person. Or the guy I was listening to the testimony of the police officer say they had his body wedged, his torso was wedged in the door.
I seen him footage. He was yelling.
He was yelling for help.
Yeah.
They were grabbing at his face mask, ripped his face his face mask off, took his backup clips, his reload ammunition off him. Were grabbing for his gun. He begins to cry out for help, telling them, I have children. I have children. He said, I didn't think to try to shoot them. I thought about it, but I said, well, it's more than them than it is of me. One of them might take my gun and use my own gun on me. So I just decided to appeal to their better nature.
Oh, okay.
And say, I have children. And eventually, they began to surround me. Some of them began to surround me and protect me from those that were yelling. They were yelling. He said, and these people were foaming at the mouth. They were demonic. They were foaming at the mouth. And he said, and the interviewer said, well, I mean, how do you feel about those people who helped you? And he thought about it. He said, you know, I've been thinking about that. And I mean, I guess thank you, but really F you for being there.
Wow.
That's what the officer said. He said, I guess thank you, but really screw you for being there.
Wow.
And I thought the same thing to myself about the black lady who the protesters mobbed and beat up, that the white man saved her, put his arms around her and backed out of the crowd, said, I got you, just walk with me, I got you. And, you know, a lot of people may look at that and say, man, he was a savior for her. I mean, he did. He saved her, but I mean, screw you for being there. What were you there for? You were there for the same reason they were there for. That being said, we all know that had there been a different type of group protesting,
They would have called 9 to the chest before they even.
you understand what I'm saying?
A clip to the chest.
So that's the
Wop, 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 wop.
so that's the place we live in. It just so happens that for some reason, as bad as it is, it has not reached yet that point that Sodom and Gomorrah has reached. As bad as it is, it has not reached yet the point that ancient Babylon reached. Because when it does,
Has it? Because we're reading a story here where Abraham's servant.
okay, let me rephrase that. As bad as it is, destruction has not come yet. Now, I don't know if it's reached that point yet or not, but I believe it's close. I believe that the boiling point is yet about here.
What they say, what the scientists say, the doomsday clock is at 2 midnight.
That's what they say.
But
So
but
look,
finish
yeah.
this,
So
this story's
what did
crazy.
Eleazar do? Y'all want to know what Eleazar
Yeah,
did?
this is
Because now
crazy.
he's astonished at
Yeah, they told him they got to pay him.
he's astonished at the nigger.
He got his head cracked,
Yeah.
and he got to pay them. He got to pay the man for cracking his head.
So picking up in verse 18. And Eleazar said to him, "You wounded me and require me to pay you for your hire?" And Eleazar would not hearken to the words of the man of Sodom. And the man laid hold of Eleazar and brought him to Shakara, the judge of Sodom, for judgment. So now he done took him to court. This is how backwards they are. It was a legitimate court case.
This is court. I'll see you in court.
The people's court. And the man spoke to the judge, saying, "I beseech thee, my lord." Lord means master in this context. Saying, "I beseech thee, my lord, thus has this man done, for I smote him with a stone, that the blood flowed from his forehead, and he is unwilling to give me my hire." And the judge said to Eleazar, "This man speaks the truth to you. Give him his hire, for this is the custom in our land."
The hell?
So Eleazar heard the words of the judge.
Okay.
He lifted up a stone
Okay.
and smote the judge in his forehead. And the blood flowed copiously from the forehead of the judge. And Eleazar said, "If this then is the custom,
Far be it me.
give unto this man what you owe me."
Deuces.
That's what he said. He said, give thou unto this man what I should have given him, for this has been thy decision.
Yeah.
Thou did decree it.
Now you said it.
You said it. So it was
pay
written.
him.
So shall it be done. And so this is why I rocks with Eleazar.
Yeah. Yeah. Eleazar was cool.
Yeah.
Eleazar was cool.
But these are the types of things that were going on there. And these are the types of things that Lot's family members would have been a part of, those who Yah wasn't speaking to, those who he didn't send messengers to. They would have been a part of these types of things. And she's saying, "But I love them. But I can't leave without them."
Yeah.
And so Yah said, "Fine, then stay."
They had kids. And it's you got to look. I've already told my children. When that horn blasts,
Right.
when that trumpet sounds, baby,
Okay.
look, you better be with me, cause if not, let me tell you something. If so and so didn't make it, I heard him go back and get his PlayStation or whatever may have you. I am so tore up about that. I'm so tore up, but I'm gonna wait till I get to the other side tomorrow. You understand what I'm saying?
Heed these messages about turning back when the Most High says it's time to leave somewhere.
Yeah.
Pay attention to these messages
Yes.
about
Yes,
turning back
brother.
after he say it's time to go.
Time to go. Yes.
Because
brother.
when it's time to go, there may be pathways opening up to you that are only going to be open for the moment that he said it's time to go.
Yep.
Think like
Yeah.
the the little baby in Tom and Jerry. I reference this a lot, don't I?
Yeah.
Think like the little baby in Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
You know, just crawling without a care in the world
Yeah.
because of the faith the little baby have just in him being a baby and nothing happening. But he step out, and as soon as he step out, something's in place for him to crawl
Now
on.
Tom's sweating.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh!
Yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah, I know I'm in the construction zone.
Yeah.
This kid, it can't be this easy.
She done told her, watch the baby or I'm going to kill you.
And so that hesitation could be just enough for you not to make it safely from point A to point B. If it's y'all saying it's time to go.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So wrapping up 19. So after all that happens, Lot originally went to Zoar. He wound up going up to the mountains anyway, after what happened to his wife. And so he's up in the mountains with his daughters. And they just saw their whole world get destroyed.
They did.
And
They ain't too far from the flood.
right.
So they thinking, okay, they said it was going to happen by water. They said the next time it was going to happen by fire.
And who we just saw the fire
And they just saw the fire.
came.
So they
So,
like, that's
yeah.
it.
So they get their father drunk and proceed to try to repopulate the earth,
Yeah, cause
starting with themselves. What's significant about that though is one of his daughter had a son named Moab. So as we move forward, when you read about the Moabites, so that's how nations were named. They were named after individuals. When you read about the Moabites, these are the people who are descendant of Lot and his daughter.
if y'all taking notes, this is something that should be in your notes.
Absolutely.
Because you're going to see about the Moabites again.
Absolutely.
You're going to see about the children of Ben-Amin, which is the youngest daughter's son,
Okay.
with her father,
And those people became known as the Ammonites,
Ammonites.
the children of Ben-Ami. So that's his
Oh,
second daughter that was there with him anyway.
Yeah, you're going to see these people again.
Yeah.
You're going to want to put this in your notes.
Yeah. And this was definitely not okay, according to y'all. But it happened.
You did have
And you're going to see why those people become kind of a pain
they
in our side.
They become a major nemesis to the children of Israel.
Okay.
So the Moabites and the Ammonites,
Okay.
they become a major enemy.
Moving on to chapter 20.
Okay.
So chapter 20. Here we got good old Father Abraham.
Still ticking.
Still ticking.
He like a trusty.
What'd you say, Father Time?
Trusty chain engine. Still ticking.
So Abraham and Sarah now go to a place called Gerar. And they come across another ruler like Pharaoh. And Abraham tells Abimelech, or tells Sarah to tell Abimelech, that she's his sister. And again, Abimelech, because Sarah was beautiful, y'all. Sarah
And she was
was
old
beautiful.
at this point too. So this show you how beautiful she was.
Sarah was beautiful. So Abimelech
Yeah.
takes Sarah and is about to make her his own, but what happens?
Y'all come see him. So you
Y'all come see
finna die, fool. You touch her, you dead.
Okay.
You touch her, it's been one. It's a wrap.
So Yah literally stops Abimelech from sleeping with Sarah. And Abimelech, on his own behalf, say, they told me it was his sister.
Yeah.
I haven't sinned. I'm innocent. And Yah say, yeah, you are innocent.
Yeah.
That's why I'm sparing you.
Yeah.
This is what you do. You go to Abraham, because he's a prophet. You ask Abraham to pray for you on your behalf,
Yeah.
and you'll be good.
You make Abraham happy, and you live.
Okay. And so that's what he does. Matter of fact, in verse I apologize. 8. So Abimelech rose early in the morning and calls all his servants and spoke all these words in their hearing, where he told him tell Abraham to pray for him and all that. And the men were greatly affrighted. And Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, "What have you done to us, in that I have sinned against you, and you have brought on me and on my reign a great sin, and you have done matters to me that should not be done." And Abimelech said to Abraham, "What did you have in view that you have
Right.
done this matter?"
What was you thinking, bro?
And so listen to what Abraham said. This was interesting. He says, "And Abraham said, only because I said to myself, the fear of Yah is not in this place." Like what we was dealing with Sodom and Gomorrah. He said, the fear of Yah is not in this place, and they shall kill me for the sake of my wife. So in other words, they ain't going to care that I'm married. That ain't going to mean nothing to them.
They ain't gonna-
I mean, it's like that today. Oh, she married, so?
I know.
Oh, he married. You know, females like that too.
Yeah.
What they got to do with me?
That-
What's
they
your
got
man
nothing.
got to do with me?
Nothing.
I told
Yeah.
you. I ain't trying to hear that, see?
So you see
Am I
this?
old?
This place, yeah. this place ain't so far off from these places in the scriptures.
Okay.
This is what they was doing.
Okay. So here's what's interesting though. If you read the book of Proverbs, Proverbs 9 and 10 says the fear of Yah is the beginning of understanding. The beginning of understanding. We have literally dealt with people, fam, and we have, I mean, asked ourselves, how in the world could they do that? And the only answer we come up with is they don't fear Yah. And we
don't
talking about
fear
people
Yah.
who say they know Yah. You don't fear Yah. Here, they didn't know Yah. So Abraham, at least, and Yah, in his mercy, gave them the opportunity to come to know him. But they didn't know Yah. So think about somebody that say they know Yah, but don't fear Yah. And what kind of blasphemy they committing by saying you know Yah, but still do the type of things you do.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Abraham says, but she truly is my sister.
Yeah, I wasn't lying.
I know somebody asked about this last week or the week before. Here's Abraham's explanation. I looked this up for y'all. I looked up a chart just to dig into it in addition to this. He says, she is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. They had the same father.
Now wait a minute.
We don't read who her mother was.
Okay, but I heard differently. Not that they had the same father, but like Abraham was like her, like uncle. Like Abraham's father was her
Let me
grandfather.
pull up the chart for you. Let me see if I can remember how to share. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Capture screen?
Excuse me, y'all. Excuse me.
Capture screen?
No, just go to a different scene. So, on the far right side, left side of the computer,
Okay.
you see that one? Right there, click it.
This one?
Mhm.
Capture screen.
Yeah.
Oh, computer screen. Yeah. So
Look, I don't. That was,
that was before y'all gave a command.
and yeah, that at the time, Now I'm just see if I can try to just
Wrap
put
your head around
myself
it.
wrap my head around it. This was shortly after the flood. We know. So it wouldn't have been like a lot of.
Listen, we're in a time now where we're okay. Y'all not gonna want to hear this, but it is what it is. People oftentimes. Oh, the audio left.
Next is back.
Oh, I apologize. Were y'all able to see the chart? Cause maybe that's when it left. I'm not sure. Was the sound gone while we switched to
Oh
cam?
my goodness, I got stuck down.
Okay. So anyway, this is kind of hard to accept, but it is what it is, right? Some people don't believe in the Bible because of this simple thing. We start right at the beginning. Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve had Cain and Abel.
Right.
How was the earth populated?
Brothers and sister action.
Okay, where do we read that?
What's the Jubilees?
Right. So you would have to leave the standard 66
Yeah.
to know that that Adam and Eve had a lot of children.
Yeah, we did.
A lot of children. Daughters, sons, so on and so forth.
Cause it say
In addition to Cain, Abel, and Seth.
yeah, Cain took his sister, married his sister,
Exactly.
and then they went
Exactly.
and had children.
And even in between the death of Abel and the death of Seth, they had a lot more children. So what happened is these siblings were marrying and having children. That's how the earth was populated. That did happen at a point in time. I know it's icky. I know, but it did happen.
It did happen.
And then there was a point in time after y'all gave the law to Moses where y'all said, okay, we don't need to do that no more.
Yeah, stop that.
Stop that.
Stop that.
You understand? And there was a change. That was written in the law at that
Yeah.
point. A brother and a sister shall not lay with each other.
Yeah.
But before that, it happened. It just did. Sometimes.
That's rough.
Not all the time. Let me tell you something else. This is kind of off the topic, but guess what else? First cousins. I know it's a little taboo, kissing cousins. And in this era, we say, well, they got to be at least third or fourth cousin removed and all that. Not scripturally. Scripturally, cousins marry each other. And that was never changed. That's still something among the culture. I know that may turn some people off because...
I'm on what culture?
Huh?
What culture? We don't do that. I mean,
what I'm saying is,
like scripturally,
that's still legal.
Yeah.
That was never
Yeah.
written. Okay, stop that.
Yeah, that's
You understand
true.
what I'm saying?
That's true. But we've gotten to a mindset that we.
You can say that. You can say that.
I mean,
However,
like the royalty do some crazy stuff.
I ain't talking about royalty because they doing, mothers and sons and
Oh,
fathers
my
and daughters
goodness.
and aunties
It's
and
crazy.
nephews and all that.
And a
That's
lot
not what
of
I'm
them
talking
come out
about.
the form too. They
What
messed up.
I'm saying though is when you start to dig into who is Judah, who is Reuben, who is Ephraim, who is and y'all said to marry within your nation, and not only to
true.
marry within your nation, but to marry within your tribe.
That's
What else
true.
are you marrying but cousins?
That's true. That's true. He do tell us to marry within our tribe.
He said marry within your nation, and he said not just within your nation, but marry within your tribe.
Yeah.
That's cousins.
That's cousins. That's cousins.
I know.
If you really look at it, I mean, in that case, most of the black folk here cousins anyway. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
But that's the whole issue. We are one nation.
Yeah.
This is a bloodline thing. It's not a religious thing.
Yeah.
That circles us all the way back around to what we believe. This is a bloodline thing. In all honesty, this is not a religious thing.
Right. That remind me of this documentary I was watching, and it was showing how all like these famous people is cousins.
1 second, Akoti Sylvia. I was just pointing out the family tree of
Abraham.
Abraham and Sarah being brother and sister by father, but not by mother. So you didn't miss anything. I was showing you guys the charts that I found. Absolutely.
Right, yep.
Absolutely. That is the law
Yeah.
according to scripture. Absolutely, Koti.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was watching this documentary, and they was talking about all these famous people that was cousins.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, they had Queen Elizabeth, and then they had, like, Queen Elizabeth was, like,
Brad
third
Pitt,
cousin
Angelina
removed to,
Jolie.
like, Brad Pitt and Beyonce.
George Bush.
And Obama.
Barack
you know what I'm saying?
Obama.
Yeah. And, like, all these folks was cousins. I was like, how in the hell?
Blue blood.
Yeah, that happened. But then I also remember that when you study like ancient Egyptian, they too at that time understood about bloodline. Bloodline is very important, and they would marry, siblings and mother and son and stuff, trying to keep everything in the bloodline. Now the result of that was some decrepit people.
Yeah. You're always gonna find. You're always gonna find the further you go in this study of this book, what the Most High does, which is righteous. If you believe the Most High to be righteous, I do. You're always gonna find what the Most High does, and then you'll always find a wicked counter version of that in the world somewhere. You know what I mean? Like one other example is Zodiac. You know what I mean? So Yah gave us the sun, the moon, and the stars as a timekeeping mechanism, and also to discern the seasons and things like that. However, the zodiac is something different. Now you're dealing with the gods. You're dealing with the Elohim. Not to confuse. You're dealing with the fallen ones that wanted to be worshipped and putting their name with their stars, quote unquote, in the heavens.
Do y'all remember I don't know if that was last week or the week before last, when we was reading Enoch, and we was reading about the different Malachim and what the different fallen and what they taught early men. And one of the things they taught them
was the zodiac. That's right.
That's right. So, yeah.
That's right. So picking up. Let's see, where were we at? That was 12. This was a short one too. So, and it came to be, I'm in verse 13, that when Elohim caused me to wander from my father's house, that I said to her, this is your loving commitment that you should do for me. In every place wherever we go, say of me, he is my brother. And Abimelech took sheep and cattle and male and female servants and gave them to Abraham, and he returned Sarah, his wife, to him. And Abimelech said, see, my land is before you, dwell wherever it is good in your eyes. Think Genesis 12. Well, remember we did. Remember when we read Genesis 12, we talked about Yah saying to Abraham, I will bless those who bless you. So this is the scripture that the Christian church uses within America to fund Israel. But here it is in action scripturally. Abimelech is blessing Abraham, but look what happens. He says, my land is before you. And to Sarah he says, see, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. See, it is to you a covering before. Cover yourself up. Don't get I'm joking. I'm just joking. Well, you get yourself in trouble
But
again.
what he's telling us, like, I've put a seal basically on Sarah.
Okay.
I know she beautiful.
Okay.
But if anybody touch Sarah,
Okay.
that ain't Abraham,
By the word of Abimelech.
you gonna die.
That's right. That's
Because
exactly what he said.
This woman's beauty brings death.
That's right. And because
It ain't for
it
us.
is not lawful for this to happen. So, so he says, it is to you a covering of eyes before all who are with you and before all others, and you are cleared before everyone. And Abraham prayed to Elohim, and Elohim healed. Here's the key to the whole chapter. Healed Abimelech and his wife and his female servants, so they bore children. So now we see why Abimelech was trying to take Sarah. For Yahuwah had closed up all the wombs. Who closed up all the wombs? Yah closed up all the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. So you just told me in my reading that Yah closes wombs?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Y'all close them and open them.
Open them.
Look what he did to Sarah.
And open them. So
Sarah.
sometimes, and this is for people who are fairly new in this walk. Sometimes it's important to know that when we're dealing with even sicknesses, ailments, barren can't have children. These are things that are not only within Yah's control, but sometimes Yah is doing something for a reason.
Yeah.
It's important to know that going forward, because that means that your first call
Should always be to the
should
Father.
always be to the Heavenly Father.
Yeah.
There's a sick and twisted, there's a sick and twisted understanding about 911, y'all. We ain't got time to get into that right now.
Yeah.
But just think about this, the short version. Just think about this. In an emergency situation, you have been programmed to call 911 before you call on your Heavenly Father.
Yeah.
Whereas where I look, my ancestors and my forefathers called on Yah first for everything.
Everything.
And they was all right.
Yeah.
So how great is our faith is if in emergency, my first instinct is to,
Call for the police.
who didn't get there and shoot me or my family member on the front lawn?
You see, what happened to Jacob Black?
Jacob Black. What was his son's name again? Israel. Oh my goodness.
Wait, Jacob Black's son name
I didn't
was
realize that
Israel?
either. Jacob Black's son name was Israel.
What they were celebrating Israel's? That's
Another nail in the coffin.
that. Come on, man. The
Another nail
man
in the
name
coffin.
was Jacob Black. His son name was Israel.
Yep.
They shot this man 7 times in his back in front of his son Israel. That's profound.
That's profound.
That's profound. All day.
Like I say, if y'all
Man.
want, we could talk about current. Look, hit us up on social media chat or something. If y'all want to do that, let us know. Find a way to let us know y'all want us to do that. We'll do that.
That's profound.
Talk current events, because that's a different.
You can't. I
That's
don't
a
believe
different
in
stream.
coincidence. And even then, that's a hell of a coincidence. That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So look, one of the things I wanted y'all to understand too, because we see what's happening. We see what's happening here with Abraham and Sarah, and as we reading this, you should be at this point starting to get a feel for the nature of Yah, how he blesses, how he reprimands. And you're going to begin to see even more so that Genesis through Deuteronomy is more than just a book of laws. I want y'all to look up a Ketubah. I want y'all to look up what a Ketubah is. Matter of fact, I told y'all I was going to give y'all a link. Go to the Project Wake Up Jacob website, and we did a study on the Ketubah, and you'll see that a Ketubah is a Hebrew marriage contract, right? And there are different parts to a Ketubah, one of which is the history of the bride and the history of the groom, and then the history of how they come together and meet. And then there's the contractual agreement whereby saying the husband vows to do this on behalf of the potential wife. If she agrees, because she don't have to agree, if she agrees, they go forward with the marriage. They consummate the marriage. Now they are one. It is good that you should understand that concept for what we're doing, because in all honesty, that's what this is. So check that out. Can you post a link to that?
Yes, I can find it.
Yeah, please, if you can. Wait, were the wounds closed as punishment for him taking Sarah? Yeah, as we read that, it looks like they were closed afterwards. Yeah, and I did misspeak because that doesn't look like that was why. But what it does look like is he must have had Sarah in his possession for some time.
But he did say that he didn't get a chance to lay with her. So it wasn't a thing in which, he grabbed her Tuesday.
No.
And Wednesday he was scratching at the door.
No.
It had been some time passed. Or maybe, when he got Sarah back, he didn't go right away to make peace with Abraham. Who knows? He took his time. And then once he realized, we plagued, something's happening.
Yeah.
Maybe because he's not gonna hear y'all voice and believe when he first hear it.
Yeah. Y'all came to deal with Abimelech in his dream immediately. It looks like from what we read. The closing of the wombs looks like during the time in between when he took Sarah and by the time Abimelech and Abraham came to an agreement, and Abraham prayed for Abimelech and blessed him and gave him his blessings.
Cain.
Absolutely, Cain and Koti. Cain. And so the wounds were opened up afterwards. But the main thing is they were closed because y'all wanted them closed. They were closed because y'all wanted them closed. Yes, that was significant. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that was a question. Yes, that is exactly why we pointed out. That's very significant.
Yeah, which leads us to chapter 21.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good segue.
Okay, absolutely. You want to start off 1 through 4?
Okay. And Yah visited Sarah as he had said, and Yah said, and Yah did for Sarah as he had spoken. So Sarah conceived and bore Abraham a son in his old age, at the appointed time of which Elohim had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son, who was born to him, whom Sarah bore to him, Yishyak.
Or Isaac.
And Abraham circumcised his son, Isaac, when he was 8 days old, as Elohim had commanded him.
Beautiful. Interesting, I thought, between me and you and whoever else knows where I'm going with this. Yah visits Sarah for her to conceive.
Yes. I just seen something else. Somebody else posted something about that. If you're going where I think you're going.
I'm not going far. I'm just throwing that out there. Yah visited Sarah for her to conceive. So Yah opens up her womb as well. But Yah visited someone else for her to conceive as well. Just without the father there. But some people can't wrap their mind around Yah's visitation causing a conception. So I find that interesting.
It was another thing interesting. Somebody had pointed out that there was a sister who was saying that, or Yah seemed to only deal with the men. Yah call the men to him, and the men go up to the mountain. Moses went up to the mountain.
Okay, I'm with you. Okay.
And somebody did a real good job of pointing out to her, like, that's because when Yah dealing with women, he come to them. You know what I'm saying? So, whereas he told Abraham, bring your son up, and, yada, yada. He told Moses, come up, and yada, yada, yada. When he wanted to talk to Rebecca, he came to Rebecca. You know what I'm saying? Because the women were basically, in grooming their side of the garden, the women were busy. You know what I'm saying? Somebody pointed that out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because for the first half of the child's life, The woman is really the teacher. You know what I'm saying? And so, she
That's
teaching
absolutely correct.
teaching the children. She's making sure that the household she makes sure that her tent is fortified and ready for the the winter, whatever. So the woman is busy, and so whenever the Most High, whenever y'all needed to speak to the woman or needed to deliver a message to the woman, he came to the women. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was interesting. I thought she was going. I just
another aspect to that too is we dealing with these messengers that visit and bring Yah's word, but also when these men are going and he's asking them to come up, most often they're coming up to what's referred to as set apart ground. So that would be an issue as well.
Yeah. And I did have a conversation with someone today about that. About, women, we get our menstrual cycles. And the blood is unclean, and that blood, that's a waste. A menstrual cycle is you releasing an egg, unfertilized egg. So basically that egg now becomes, not that it was alive, but it was still a live organism. It was still a live cell, but now it's a process in which your body, I'm not going to say kill it, but when it disconnects from that life source, the egg now becomes it becomes dead in a way. And it's released, your body cleanses it out of your body through your menstrual cycle. So I don't know just how deep that process is, or just exactly, what goes on with that process. But the creator of our bodies said that during this time, a woman is unclean because of whatever that process is that's happening. She's unclean.
And should be separated.
And she should be separated. So I was talking to a young lady about this, just today. And it's not a thing in which I can remember talking to another lady a while ago who said she refuses to accept that. I said, excuse me? She was like, this is why I don't roll with the Bible. Because I refuse to accept that I'm cursed because I bleed monthly or, whatever. Yeah. And then she just started talking about some nasty stuff.
The word curse was never used, but that's how she took it.
Yeah. And then she just starts talking about some nasty stuff she do with her blood and everything. And I'm just like... No,
please.
You know what? I'm a girl by it. You know what I'm saying? She went into some next level stuff. But anyway, so it it's a whole process in which your body is expelling a life that didn't get used. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a pretty deep thing that occurs. You know what I'm saying? It's a pretty spiritual in a way thing that occurs, and in which I don't know if death, the death angel is this unclean angel that takes death, that some, I don't know, like I said, I don't know what exactly occurs with the menstrual cycle, but whatever it is, the Most High said that during this time a woman should separate herself.
Yeah, I know where you're going.
You know what I mean?
And not to get too deep, but there are Malakim in control of most things in operation in the world. So what she referencing is, the things that are attached to death, although it may be commissioned by Yah, or it may be allowed by Yah, don't mean that it was necessarily something that he would be around. And so he does call for a period of separation. And there are laws regarding that. We'll eventually get to the laws.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
There are laws regarding that as well. It's not a curse.
It's not.
But it's just it's good housekeeping, so to speak.
Yeah. It's a thing that happens. And like men have an unclean period too, because when they ejaculate.
Oh, we
don't say ejaculation.
we don't.
Is ejaculation a bad word?
It's not a bad word. It's just too.
Vulgar word.
It's a little vulgar.
Okay, well, what word would you have me use?
Excrete.
Excrete. Excrete is not worse than ejaculation.
So look, this is taking a dark turn. let me help. Please allow me. So like I said, woo. This is
because excrete so much better. Okay.
So, like I said, we're gonna get to laws, but here's the short end of it. Most bodily fluids that are in you, if they come out of you, in the law are listed as unclean. And there is a process by which you wash, you may bring a sacrifice, and then you're clean at the evening time. Some things take more than one day to be cleaned from, especially if you are unclean for more than one day. A cut, a bruise, pus,
infections,
and so infections are a big one. Mucus. Dr. Sabi told you that, but it was in the Bible before Dr. Sabi said it.
Dr. Sabi said just how dangerous mucus was. Y'all was telling us.
Yeah.
How dangerous mucus was.
Occulta, you can hear the children laughing in the background. They get that kind of entertainment from us all the time.
Y'all gonna get it too, I'm sure.
Please, let's not.
I'm just saying, I would have assumed ejaculation was something taught in school.
Let's not rehash. So.
Okay. He's still talking about excretion. I'm just saying.
Anyway, y'all get the picture.
Yeah.
If not,
I'm sure when the subject of excretion comes up, when we get to that part in the scriptures, I'll forget to use the term excretion and say ejaculation, because I think that's even how it's written in the scriptures. Emissions. That's what it says. Emissions.
So anyway, y'all get the picture.
Yeah. So,
oh my goodness, they cracking up.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so moving.
Right.
Look, more on that next time.
Right.
Release is a good word.
Release.
No, Coty. No, Coty. No.
Release ain't a good word.
Not for this setting. I don't know.
Brother, it's a part of life. It's the cycle of life.
Yeah, but you don't have that cycle of life in a public affair.
Can you say the S word?
You do.
And I don't mean serum.
Moving on. Y'all got to graduate before we had them conversations. No, I'm joking. Anyway, so they conceive.
Okay.
They have Isaac. He's circumcised.
Obviously, the stork bought Isaac. Is it
well, scripture says they knew each other.
Our kid's 17 years old. He still telling the stork bringing babies.
They knew each other in the biblical sense.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And then what happens?
Where we at? Picking up in
9. Let's go 9 through 14.
Okay. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Mizraim, whom she had born to Abraham, mocking. So she said to Abraham, "Drive out this female servant and her son, for the son of this female servant shall not inherit with my son, with Isaac." And this matter was very evil in the eyes of Abraham because, that's his son. But Yah said to Abraham, "Let it not be evil in your eyes because of the boy and because of your female servant. Whatever Sarah has said to you, listen to her voice, for it is Isaac your seed. It is Isaac, in Isaac your seed is called."
Okay. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
So we get the backstory of that in Jasher as well.
Yeah.
So Ishmael is years older than Isaac, and
Yeah.
what he was doing was very threatening. Like he could
Yeah.
have really hurt him. It wasn't just mocking.
Yeah. You could tell, like, a little spirit had came over him, and he
Yeah.
just was kind of like,
Yeah.
what happened if you slip and fall to your death.
Yeah.
Like you could tell, like it's a moment crossed his mind, like can I get away with it?
Mm-hmm.
But you could also tell from the reading that Ishmael did love his brother.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that he couldn't help but feel some jealousy because the Yah's prophecy was.
I'm
in
sure
the earth.
Cain loved Abel to a degree.
Yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So,
But remember, there's still two spirits warring against
yes,
each other.
Yeah.
So there's that. Sarah says she got to go.
Oh yeah, they got to ride.
Sarah says her son will not inherit with my son.
Yeah.
Send out. Abraham gets upset. Yah says, listen to your wife.
Yeah.
Okay. So then Hagar leaves, and then she's visited again. Second time, right? Second time her and Sarah running into it with each other.
Yeah.
And what happens here? Picking up at 16.
And she went and sat down about a bow shoot away, for she said, let me not see the death of my boy.
Mm-hmm.
And she sat opposite him and lifted her voice.
So she done walked so far at this point to where she done ran out of water, and she said she about ready to give up the ghost.
Yeah, so she done set him down by a tree somewhere, and she done walked away because she don't want to see him die.
Right.
And Yah heard the voice of the boy, and the messenger of Yah called to Hagar from the heavens and said to her, what is the matter with you, Hagar? Do not fear, for Elohim has heard the voice of the boy where he is. Arise and lift up the boy and hold him with your hand, for I make a great nation of him. And Elohim opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. And she went and filled the skin with water and gave the boy a drink.
Now pause just for a second, because you got to understand, when this is the second time that we read that the Most High says he's going to make a great nation of Ishmael. And so we read about a lot of nations. We just read about the Moabites and the Ammonites, and they got they spots. They're highlighted a few times in here. But when he say I'm gonna make a great nation, I'm talking about a nation that even today's day is still around and still on the scene and still doing their thing.
Test of time. Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And so again, Ishmael being the progenitor of what we now today call the Muslims, or who refer to themselves as Muslim by blood, not as converts, this is the origin of that and everything that go with it. Remember, he'll be a wild man, his hand against every nation and his hand against his brother. That's this nation. Okay. He'll be a great nation.
And Elohim was with the boy. And he grew and dwelt in the wilderness and became an archer. And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran. And his mother took a wife for him from the land of Mitzrayim. And it came to be at that time that Abimelech and Pekol, the commander of the army, spoke to Abraham, saying, see, we can see now, Elohim is with you. And now, swear to me by Elohim not to be untrue to me, to be or to my offsprings, or to my descendants. Do to me according to the loving commitment that I have done to you, and to the land in which you have dwelt. And Abraham said, I swear. And Abraham reproved Abimelech because of the well of water which Abimelech's servants had seized. And Abimelech said, I didn't know who has done this deed. Neither did you inform me, nor did I hear it until today.
So real quick, so what's going on here is Abimelech, as powerful as he is in fear of Abraham.
Yep.
Abimelech is in fear of. So another thing that like we try to instill in our children, and I pray that it sticks, but also something that we have to remind ourselves as adults is in his obedience. In his obedience, Abraham was not able to be messed with by anybody.
Yeah.
Because Yah would fight for him. And Abimelech had to see that for himself, but once he see it, he was not in any way confused. He understood that the power of Abraham was a power that him and all his power and whoever Abimelech had served previously was not powerful enough to deal with this power.
Right.
Okay.
And so keep in mind too that this power that Abraham has that makes kings come to him and say, I'm going to treat you good.
Yeah. Let me bless you.
Just let me bless you. Just pray for me.
Right.
And stay on my side so that because I can see that the God of this, they created this world is with you. Just stay on my side so that he don't go against me. So this power is the birthright.
Yes.
You know, this is what was passed down from Adam to Seth to Lamech. I don't know. We went over the names.
Yeah.
But eventually to Noah, from Noah to Shem, and then Shem gave it to Abraham.
Right.
And so that's the birthright. So this is what you're going to come to see that's going to be fought over. Yeah. That we're going to eventually go into captivity for.
And just to highlight exactly what you said, you just saw that Yah very specifically said not Ishmael, but in Isaac your seed is called. Isaac. When it said in Isaac your seed is called, what he's saying is that birthright that Reb is talking about ain't going, although I said I'm going to make Ishmael a great nation, that birthright ain't going to Ishmael. Yeah. That birthright is going to Isaac.
Feelings will arise from that.
Absolutely. Did arise.
Because
historically.
Abraham was famous. Abraham was known all over the earth because Yah was with him. And so when it became clear that Ishmael and his seed didn't have that power, then feelings, envy, jealousy arose over the years and over the blood. And then now that you see the birthright, as we read, you're going to see this power being with a certain people, all the way up into Balaam teaches our enemies how to strip the power away. Balaam tells them, as long as they call on Yah, he gonna answer them. However, you can get them to push Yah away. You gotta make them unclean. Because if they unclean, he can't dwell with them. You gotta make them unclean, and then you gotta keep them so distracted that they choose your gods, your money. When he actually said money and liquor. Women, money, and liquor. He said the three things that could defeat Yehuda is women, money, and liquor.
Have them defeat themselves.
Have them defeat themselves.
And in all honesty, if you really look at it, by holding something that these people didn't customarily do as something to behold, something good and something better, the thing that would cause them to want that as opposed to Yah would be what? It would be covetousness.
Covetousness.
And that's one of the 10. Covetousness. Yeah. That's why covetousness can cause you to sin. You coveting something that you don't have when what you coveting is something that you're not supposed to have. Yeah. And something that's gonna make you unclean. And so that's what they use. Again, silent weapons for quiet words.
Yeah. And so now we didn't reach the point the things that Balaam told them, it became mystery school teachings.
Mm-hmm.
It became things taught in lodges, in secret society teachings. And so he did tell them there was going to be a cutoff. There was going to be a time where these people were going to come back. Mm-hmm. Their minds were going to correct themselves. And when these people start calling on their power again, you're going to have a problem. And so now we reached that time. After years, decades of being separated from our power, because we unknowingly, through our actions and through the things that we have been taught, pushed him away. Now, we're doing the things that's going to bring him back. And once you see, as we read this, you're going to see what happens when you're connected with your power. Mm-hmm. The things that you're capable of doing.
Mm-hmm. All right. You want to finish that up?
Yeah, where we at?
You were just about to read about the terebinth tree, I think.
Oh, yes. The tamarisk
tree.
Tamarisk tree, yeah. So Abraham and Abimelech make a covenant. That Abimelech say to Abraham,
I didn't know about the well.
Huh?
You left out with him saying, I didn't know about the well.
I didn't know about the well.
Right.
Let me correct that. Okay. And Abraham took sheep and cattle and gave them to Abimelech. And the two of them made a covenant. Now that's very important. Mm-hmm. If a covenant was made, a covenant is something is steel. It's a steel. Right. Okay? Yep. And Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. And Abimelech asked Abraham, what are these 7 ewe lambs which you have set by themselves? And he said, take these 7 ewe lambs from my hand to be my witness that I have dug this well. Mm. So he called that place Beersheba, because the two of them swore an oath there. Mm. Thus they made a covenant in Beersheba. And Abimelech rose with Pichol, the commander of his army, and they returned to the land of the Philistines. Mm-hmm. Okay? Keep that in mind. What do we know about the land of the Philistines? And Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba, and there called on the name of Yah, the everlasting El. This is important because I believe that was the first time Abraham called on the name of Yah. We read in Jasher and Jubilees where Abraham used words like almighty power.
That's here in scripture.
Yes. So Yah's name was in the earth before the flood thanks to Seth. We read it was during Seth's time that men began to call on the name of Yah, right? But then something happened during the time of Nimrod where the name of Yah was forgotten. So Abraham, although he felt Yah's presence and knew Yah's presence, Abraham wasn't calling on his name. Abraham was saying things like the Most High, the Ancient of Days, the Almighty Power, things like that.
We read it already, El Shaddai.
El Shaddai, yeah.
And that's what that means, the Almighty Power.
The Almighty Power. And so it was during this time, after Abimelech and Abraham made that covenant right there, where Abimelech basically told Abraham, I fear Yah, you ain't gonna have no troubles out of me, you're gonna have peace in this land that Yah said was gonna be yours anyway. Now, I don't know if Abimelech knew that part, but Abraham got up after they made that covenant. Sarah just had his son, who his seed was gonna be, the birthright was gonna be passed through, and there after that Abraham planted the tree. Now this is a tree that when grown in the right conditions, this tree becomes huge. But it's a slow grower. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's a slow grower. So Abraham didn't plant this tree for him. He would never see this tree to its fullest. Abraham planted this tree for his seeds. Now the thing about this tree is, they call this tree a salt oak because this tree seeks out salt water. You understand what I'm saying? And if you can find it, it'll grow huge. Mm-hmm. But when it's planted in land that's not its own, land that's not conducive for it, it grows as an invasive bush.
That's interesting.
Yeah. It grows as an invasive bush. It gets
invasive, huh?
Yeah. And here in America, they hate this tree.
It's interesting that you say they call it a salt oak as well, because every covenant, according to the law that we read about in this book, is made with salt as part of the covenant. And there are a people in this book that are called a people of the covenant, and those same people are also called the salt of the earth, meaning these people are given for a covenant, just like Messiah. I don't know. That might be too much right now.
I know. That's what, I be getting caught up on trees. So I'm like, what was the significance of this tree and why he plants on? Like, I'm like researching this tree, and here in America, this tree on like the America Most Wanted list because it's so invasive.
Gotcha.
And it's not. This isn't a proper environment for it, so it don't grow to the beautiful tree it grow to in Jerusalem. Yeah. It don't grow to the beautiful tree it grow to in Jerusalem. Here it only grow to invasive bushes. Yeah, but in Jerusalem it's a beautiful tree, and this is the one Abraham planted.
Wow. So he planted that tree in Beersheba, and there he called on the name of the everlasting Aiel, or power. And Abraham sojourned in the land of the Philistines many days. Cain. All praise to the Most High Yah. Man, I know sometimes it seems like we're kind of taking off into other stuff, but I promise y'all it is all related. Cain. It does. Okoti Chanel says sings parallel to the people.
It does. That's what I thought too, sis. When I was researching this tree, that's what I thought too.
Think about as she was saying, like when we were in Egypt, when the Pharaoh arose that did not know Joseph, that's what his counselors were telling him. They're populating at a rate that they're soon going to outnumber us. And when they outnumber us, what's going to stop them from joining together against us in war?
It's that same fear that Abimelech had. The reason why he came to make the covenant with Abraham.
Same fear. And in all honesty, but not for the divisions among us, strategic divisions based on ageism, sexism, colorism,
wealthism.
Well, yeah, all that. If not because of these Willie Lynch isms,
I know.
then we would be more divided. That whole additive of crab in a barrel mentality and stuff like that, they love that. Silent weapons for quiet wars. How could you unite against them if you divided against each other? I don't have to worry about you uniting because you don't unite for nothing. But as these scales are being removed from over the eyes of many, we start to understand heritage and nationality, and that my man's over there is my brother, not my enemy. You know what I'm saying? The young lady over there is a sister, not a thought. Then we start to treat each other as humans and as relatives, as opposed to as combatants, and that is a scary thought. Why? Because surely the first thing they're gonna want to do is the same thing that we did to them.
Yeah.
But that's not how we rock.
That's not how we is. That's not how we are as people.
You know.
That's not how we are as people.
Anyway, fam, it's
Yes.
been beautiful.
Any questions, guys?
Yeah.
Any
Anything y'all want to shoot out there?
questions?
In a land that's not their own, those people cannot develop to their fullest potential in a strange and cane.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can't grow tall. You
Yeah.
can't be proud. That height is symbolic of pride.
Yeah.
It's like the wheat and the tare, you know.
Yeah. They look at that tree over here. That tree bugs them. Like, you know, if you go to like the these agricultural sites and stuff, they have special units of specialists who will come out and remove these bushes because it's so invasive, and they do not like that tree here in America. They do not.
Wonder why.
You know?
Wonder why.
And it's a bush. It never even grows to its full potential. It's an unsightly bush here.
All right, family. Next
Any
week,
questions, y'all?
while y'all shooting in questions, we going 22 through 25,
Okay.
24, 23,
Okay.
22 through 24. Were you able to drop that link in? Okay. Yeah, so we'll drop a link in the comment section.
Yeah.
Even after the video, I'll drop a link for y'all to the article on the Ketubah.
Yeah.
Check that out. Very, very helpful to my understanding when we studied it. I pray it's helpful to y'all's. And if it is, say all praise to Yah, Bahashim Yahusha, Hamashiach.
We praying for y'all this week. Y'all have a safe week out there. Be careful.
Okay, y'all be safe out there. Y'all know,
With the Father, pray up. Stay prayed
know
up.
there's some crazies out there.
Put on that full armor.
Hey. Okay. I want y'all to remember y'all in good hands. With who?
Y'all know. You the new All-State, man.
Shalom, fam. We love y'all.
Shalom, family.
Y'all willing, we see you next week. Notoriety. I'd rather bake my own. So I don't bring the baking home.
My people sick, I'd rather bring the medication home.